This video is how to find the resistance of an individual resistor when you know the total resistance and the other resistors in the circuit. Just a little reminder of the equation for the total resistance of a parallel circuit. The total resistance is 1 over the sum of the other individual resistors, and it's the fractions of each of those. And the Rn in this figure right here means number of resistors. So you could have 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, it can go on and on. So each of these little numbers is just telling you resistor 1, resistor 2, resistor 3. Let's look at a problem. A parallel circuit has 2 resistors and a total resistance of 2 ohms. One of the resistors is 6 ohms. Find the resistance of the second resistor. Okay, so let's remind ourselves of that equation. And we're going to plug in what we know. So set the formula up by plugging in the information. The total is 2 ohms. Resistance 1 is 6. We only have 2 resistors, so we really, there's not a third one, so it kind of looks like that. And we're going to put R for the unknown quantity. Now we're going to take the reciprocal of both sides. That means we're going to flip both sides over. So we get 1/2 on the left, and on the right-hand side, basically we're clearing this part of the fraction out of the denominator, so we don't have this numerator of 1 on top. All right, next up, we're going to subtract 1/6 from both sides. And remember, to do that, you need to get common denominators. The common denominator of this one would be 6, multiply the top and bottom by 3. And when you do, you end up getting 1/3. And I think you can see right here that R is going to have to be 3. But if it wasn't as easy to see, you'd finish this by cross multiplying. So 1 times R equals 3 times 1. When you cross multiply that, you're going to end up with R equals 3. And the second resistor has a resistance of 3 ohms. And you could go back to the original information they gave you and check your answer, which we'll do on our next problem. Here's another one. Example 2, a parallel circuit has 3 resistors this time and a total resistance of 0.8 ohms. 2 of the resistors are 4 ohms. Find the resistance of the third resistor. So here's our formula. Okay, so set the problem up, same as before. Total resistance. Resistor 1, 4 ohms. Resistor 2, 4 ohms. Resistor 3, we're going to call R. Next, we're going to take the reciprocal, so we flip this over. Now you could write 0.8 as a fraction, which is 4/5. And then when you flipped 4/5 over, you'd end up with 5/4. But we'll just leave it as a decimal, because some people feel more comfortable with decimals. 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/R. Now we're going to add those two 1/4 fractions together, and we get 1/2. Next, we're going to subtract 1/2 from both sides. And again, you could do this as a decimal. 1/2 is 0.5. On the calculator, we could do that subtraction and do 1 divided by 0.8 and then subtract 0.5 from that, and we would end up getting 0.75. Now we've got this, it looks like 0.75 equals 1/R, and this will confuse people sometimes, because how do you get the R? And you really can just flip these two, switch the R and the 0.75, but here's why. You can put the 0.75 over 1 to make it a fraction, and then you're cross multiplying, so you get 0.75 times R equals 1 times 1, and then divide both sides by 0.75, so basically it's 1 divided by 0.75, which is what you'd get when you flip the sides. And that gives you an R of 1.3 repeating, or a resistance of 1.3 ohms. And that is the same as 4/3 as a fraction. So let's check our answer. Here's the equation with the 0.8 ohms as the total, the 1/4, the 1/4, and the R that was unknown. I'm going to go ahead and put in 4/3 just because the 1.3 repeating, you have to put in enough 3's that repeat in order to get the exact answer, and 4/3 is exact, so it's easier to work with that. But for those of you who like decimals, you could have 0.25 and 0.25 and 1.333333, and as long as you put 5 or 6 3's in there, you should be fine. Okay, we're going to place the R, and now to get rid of this, well, first we combined the 1/4 and 1/4, and we got 2/4. Then we're going to take this 1 and 4/3, and we need to change this part right here. So this really means 1 divided by 4/3. 1 divided by 4/3. When divided by a fraction, you flip the second one over and multiply. Still, that's the same thing as saying 1 times 3/4, or you get 2/4 plus 3/4. So I can combine my fractions now. I get 0.8 equals 1 over 5/4. Here's my 5/4, and I've got 1 divided by 5/4. So I'm going to flip the fraction over, the second one always, and multiply, and I'm going to end up with 0.8 equals 4/5, which, if you do it on the calculator, 4 divided by 5 is 0.8. So they are equal, and it checks. It's always important that you check what your work was. So I hope that you found that this tutorial helped you out in finding the resistance of an individual resistor, and good luck.